Morning fellas. In this video I'm going to talk about the mental side of fitness, something that's often very overlooked, and a lot of people, I think they really seem to forget the fact that your external reality really is a reflection of your internal reality. It's really a reflection of what's going on up in your mind. And so if you're not happy with the way that you look right now, before you can change how you look, we first need to make changes that happen up in your mind. So in this video, I'm going to give you some practical tips, tools, strategies that you can implement immediately to start reprogramming your mind to become a person who is just in shape naturally. Because for a lot of you, it's going to feel like an uphill battle right now. And really, the secret to all of this is to become the person that just does those things by default. And anyone who's in really good shape, they're not struggling to stay in shape. I'm not saying they don't work hard, I'm not saying they don't train hard, I'm saying they enjoy the process. And if you're not enjoying the process right now, then it's always going to feel like an uphill battle. And so that's what this video is about, to help you become the person who is just naturally in shape all the time. All right. By the way, I am in Thailand right now. This is the view. It's like 7 AM, so the sun hasn't come up over the hill, but it was really raining in Bali, and I just needed some sun, so I'm in Phuket, Thailand. Oh, right, okay, so let's get into it. The first thing that you need to do when it comes to, well, actually, I want to tell you a story, first of all. I've told this story many times. If you've heard me tell this story before, just bear with me for anyone who's new here. Okay, I want to tell you the story about Roger Bannister, okay? Because Roger Bannister was the first person in the world to run a mile under 4 minutes, okay? And before he did that, doctors and various health professionals deemed it physically impossible for a human being to run a mile under 4 minutes. And everyone seemed to believe that, okay? Everyone believed that. No one had ever accomplished it. It just seemed like it was just a fundamental truth that everyone believed. Now, do you think before Roger Bannister became the first person ever to run a mile under 4 minutes, do you first think he believed it possible? Of course he did. Of course he did. He knew it was possible, and he knew he was going to do it, and then eventually that's why it happened. Success does not happen by accident. Someone does not get in the best shape of their life by accident, okay? Someone does not make millions of dollars by accident. It really starts in their mind. You have to see it in your mind before you can experience it in reality, okay? So Roger Bannister was the first person to run a mile under 4 minutes. You know what happened the very next year? Okay, the very next year after Roger Bannister was the first person to run a mile under 4 minutes, bearing in mind for years and years and years, no one had ever run a mile under 4 minutes, okay? The very next year, loads of people ran a mile under 4 minutes, okay? So what changed? What changed is those people, they now had belief. They now knew it was possible to run a mile under 4 minutes, and so they were able to do it. And this really is the power of your belief, okay? The power of your beliefs. And everything that we think and do and act is largely dictated not by our conscious mind, but our subconscious mind. And if we can tap into this power, then it really is going to help us sort of manifest, I know that word's thrown around a lot, our deepest desires and things that we want, okay? And I was speaking to my friend the other day, and I was talking about some of this stuff, and he was like, oh, do you manifest, do you? And I thought, oh, that's an interesting question, because we're all manifesting, okay? Even you right now, you are manifesting, but most of us are manifesting things that we don't want. We're manifesting unconsciously. We're doing it without even thinking about it, because we're all manifesting all the time. All of our thoughts, all of the things that we do every single day, they're reinforcing who we are as a person, and you're essentially telling the universe, this is what sort of person that I am. Okay, so if you're stuck in negative thought patterns, you're actually manifesting. You're thinking about things that you don't want, which is not helping you. Okay, so understand that success is not by accident, and it first starts with your beliefs. And if you can see it in your mind, then you'll be able to see it in your reality, and we're all manifesting all the time. Okay, so how do you cultivate belief? Because this really is the first step. If you don't get this first step right, forget about everything else. Okay, so step number one is super important. Obviously, you need to believe in yourself, which some people find it much easier to do than others. But one really useful tool to be able to do this is breath work and meditation. And I know some of you are just going to click off this video, you're just going to dismiss it immediately, but for those of you who have an open enough mind, just hear me out, okay? Because most people are living life in survival mode. It's a bit like when I used to play online multiplayer games, okay? And some people would play the game super defensively. They'd be hiding in the corner, they'd have the heartbeat sensor, they wouldn't move from the building that they were in, they would find an advantageous position and they would just stay there and not move around the map. We call these people campers, okay? And a lot of people are going through life camping. They're not really putting themselves out there, they're not really pushing themselves, they're not really trying new things, they're not really trying very hard, they're just playing defensively. They know what they have, they know the chess pieces that they have, and they're just trying not to lose instead of playing to win. Okay, and I believe the fastest way to change your state and to get out of this is to get into a parasympathetic state. We're bombarded these days with negative information and programming on the news and with advertisements and social media and everything, all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, in everywhere, in England, in America, all over the world, with the wars and everything, right? There's lots of crazy stuff, don't need to go into it. Okay, so we're bombarded with all this negativity, and if you expose yourself to that, okay, like, this is another point actually, is what is your information diet like, okay? Because we all understand diet physically when you kind of eat food, but what about your information diet? So all this stuff is all going on, and people are just in a chronic 24/7 stressed state. And if there's one thing that kills your ability to manifest and create what you want, it is being in a stressed state. We have to get you in a calm state, and the fastest way to do that is simply through breathing. And yes, it's free, it costs nothing, and this shit genuinely works, okay? Just for now, whilst you're watching this, okay? Take a deep breath in through your nose. I don't know about you, but I instantly feel a little bit different. And the more stressed you are and you do this, the more of an impact you will feel. So breath work is something that you can do any time of the day, anywhere. Something as simple as breathing in for 6 seconds, pausing for a while, and breathing in for 4 seconds, pausing for a while, and then breathing out for 6, and then pausing for a while. Something as simple as that, a few times a day, or whenever you feel like you need to do it, is going to really help stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. It's really going to help calm you down, because before we can do anything else, you need to stop playing life on defensive mode. Stop being stressed, stop being defensive, stop thinking about what you have to lose, and start playing the game to win. Step 2 is meditation. And I know a lot of people, they just think meditation's woo-woo, but meditation probably is the single best tool to increase self-awareness, because a lot of us, we're not really aware of the negative thought patterns or the things that go on in our head. Like, most of what we do every single day is on autopilot. Okay, if we had to just think about this for a second, if we had to think about every little micro thing that we do every single day, we will quickly get very burnt out. So once we learn how to do something, it just becomes natural and automatic, and then we don't have to think about it. Think about everything that goes into driving a car, and a lot of you will drive a car to work every single day. But remember the first time you got in a car and you tried to drive a car, you had to think about the clutch, or you had to think about indicators, you had to think about checking your mirrors, you had to think about what gear you're in, the speed that you're going, your position in the road. There was like a million things to think about, right? Now, you do all those things subconsciously, and this really is the power of tapping into your subconscious mind, because it really makes up for, if you imagine your brain as like a supercomputer, okay, your subconscious mind is like 90% and your conscious mind is just like 10%. So we really want to tap into this power, okay? And I believe the best way to do this is by becoming aware of what our conscious mind is doing. And really, meditation is about observing your thoughts as thoughts and realizing you are not your thoughts, okay? Because once you realize you are not your thoughts, then you have the ability to create thoughts and to direct your thoughts. And then this is where you start to be able to create and become the person you want to become, okay? So meditation is super beneficial. In the past, I've used apps like Headspace and Waking Up. There's many different ways to do it. Honestly, don't overcomplicate it. Really, the most important thing is that you sit down and just observe your thoughts for 10 minutes or so. Even 10 minutes a day can literally be life-changing, okay? Because you've got to think that our interaction with the world, everything happens through our eyes and our brain. So if we improve this piece of equipment that we have here, everything else improves. This is the main way in software development. We have a term called API, which is Application Programming Interface. This is our API to the outside world, okay? We have our eyes and we have our brain, and this is how we interact with everyone else. And if we upgrade this, then our whole interaction and how we're going to be able to play this game of life is going to improve. All right, so that's meditation. Step 3 is visualization. Now, before you can create something in the physical world, it first needs to exist as an idea in your mind. And the way you can do that is through visualization. And a lot of us, albeit unconsciously, are visualizing all the time about things that we don't want instead of things that we do want. So just pause for a minute, close your eyes, and just think about that thing that you want. Maybe, I'm going to assume because you've clicked on this video, that you want to be in shape. So I want you to pause for a second, close your eyes, and look in the mirror, okay? And imagine yourself with the six-pack. Imagine yourself with the body that you want. Imagine yourself in the house that you want to live in. Imagine yourself doing the things every day that you want to do. And the more you can do this and the more clearly you can see this as a possibility, the more likely it is to happen. If you can't even visualize for a second about you being in shape and you just can't even believe it's possible, excuse me, it will never be possible. It will never happen. You first have to believe it's possible and see it in your mind before it becomes a physical reality. Okay, so visualization is very simple. You can do it pretty much anywhere, anytime. I feel like I'm even doing it when I'm at the gym. Okay, when I'm training, say if I'm doing a set, I'm focused on that mind-muscle connection, right? But I'm also visualizing my muscles getting bigger, although I don't really care about getting much bigger these days. I'd rather just get leaner, but you get the idea, right? I'm visualizing my muscles getting bigger because that's the action that I'm trying to do right now. I'm lifting weights to create stress on the muscles so that there's a growth response and the muscles grow stronger and get bigger. Okay, step 4 is something called affirmations. Now, affirmations are not just positive self-talk, okay? Affirmations, when done correctly, allow you to start rewriting the programs that are running in your head. If you go back to the analogy of the brain being a supercomputer, and you have your conscious mind, which is 10%, and your unconscious mind, which is 90%, okay, that 90% is unconscious. It happens on autopilot. And when we're younger, before the age of like 7, 8, our brains are effectively just a sponge, and we adopt ideas, beliefs, belief systems from our family, from society. They're given to us from our external circumstances without really any filtering mechanism, okay? And a lot of these programs might still be running in your head right now, and they might, if you knew what you believe that way, and you actually sort of wrote it out on a piece of paper, you would realize how absurd that is. For example, I'll give you some clear examples. Some people believe that unhealthy food is comforting for them. And how do I know this to be true? Well, every single time they are unhappy, they turn to unhealthy food because they realize it's something called comfort eating, right? Also, there are people out there who believe all foods will make them fat. And so after they eat, they go to the bathroom and they make themselves sick and they throw up the food. I believe that's called anorexia or bulimia or something like that, right? It's an eating disorder. Okay, there are examples of faulty belief systems, things that people believe are true which are not. And the way you can start to rewrite your belief systems is through affirmations. This is how we can change the code and change the programs that are running in your head without you realize, okay? So when it comes to affirmations, instead of saying, I want a six-pack, or I want to be successful, what you want to do is say, I have a six-pack, I am successful. You've got to really speak as if the things that you want have already happened, rather than wanting those things. Because if you just want those things, the universe will give you what you want, which is just that you want those things, not that you have those things. Okay, so focus on speaking as if the things that you want have already happened. And step 6, which is linked to this, but it's super important. Okay, this is the last step, which ties everything together, which really is rocket fuel and makes all of these steps so much more powerful, is with regards to your emotions. Okay, so when you're doing your visualization, when you're doing your affirmations, instead of just going through the motions, really imagine and feel those emotions that you would feel once you have that thing that you want. So if you really want a six-pack, just imagine, close your eyes for a second, imagine that you have a six-pack, and then feel the emotions that are related with having that thing, okay? And if you do this, and you feel those emotions, and you do this repeatedly, by the way, you can't just do this one time, okay? It's a bit like going to the gym once and expecting gains. It doesn't happen like that. All of these things are continuous, and you need to do it every single day, just like going to the gym, okay? But if you do this repeatedly, and you feel the emotions which are associated with that thing that you want, your subconscious mind has no ability to determine what is real and what is a figment of your imagination. And it will start to believe that it's true. And then once you start to believe it's true, you will look for the opportunities. You will see things that you didn't see before. You will start to make decisions that you didn't normally make before. And this really is the secret. The secret to all of this, guys, is becoming the person who does those things by default, okay? Because some of the people who have, say, the person who has your dream physique, or someone who's in just incredible shape, the secret is that they enjoy the process, okay? It doesn't feel like an uphill battle for them. They're not having to motivate themselves every single day to go to the gym and to stick to the diet and everything else. They really just do it for the love of the game. They do it because they enjoy it and because they want to do it. You will be amazed at what you can achieve, and you will be able to achieve far more than you ever thought was possible before. Okay guys, so I hope this video helps. If you're struggling right now, if you feel like quitting, if you feel like giving up on your fitness journey, good. It's a good thing because it's supposed to be tough, okay? At the beginning, it will feel hard, it will be difficult, and that's a good thing, and it's supposed to be, because that's what gives it value. If it wasn't difficult, okay, everyone would be in shape, and you wouldn't want to get in shape because just everyone would have it. It's a bit like, I don't know, something that everyone has. Having hair, I was going to say hair on your head, but not everyone has hair on your head. I don't know. I can't think of an example, but something that everyone has, you don't really appreciate that much compared to something that not very many people have. For example, not very many people have a Ferrari, for example. So Ferraris are something that's highly deemed like valuable because it's rare and a lot of people like them, and there's just not many people have them. Now, if you're struggling and you don't want to do this alone, I have a coaching program. This is where me and you would work personally, one-on-one, and I will do everything in my power to make it as easy and as simple, as straightforward as possible for you to hit your fitness goals. Now, I can't eat for you, I can't train for you, I can't fix your lifestyle habits for you, but what I can tell you to do is when to eat, when to train, what to do, a step-by-step simple process for you to execute every single day for you to hit your fitness goals. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, below this video there'll be a link where you can submit an application, and if I've got space, I'll reach out to you and we can have a chat and find out and see if we're a good fit. Alright guys, I hope this video helps. This is how you can reprogram your mind to get jacked, to get in the best shape of your life. The secret to all of this is becoming the person who does these things by default, because when you become the person who does these things by default, everything starts to feel effortless and you do it without thinking about it, and it just becomes easy. And you know what guys, the best part about all of this is that you can use these tools and these practices not just for fitness, but for any single aspect of your life that you want to improve, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your business, or whatever aspect of your life that you wish to improve. You are in control. You are in the driver's seat. This is the stuff that they don't teach you in schools, okay? But we have the ability to direct our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions to become the person we want to be. So if you want to go out there and get your dream body, get it. If you want to go out there and build your dream life, you can do, but it first starts with implementing some of the things that I've talked about in this video. All right guys, so I hope this video helps. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.